the first couple of interviews, I feel is set to fail. I remember when I started to looking for PMM roles, I went to the first couple of interviews. Yeah, it was pretty bad. And because my name is Lei, I'm a product marketing manager here at a new startup based in San Francisco Bay Area, a company called SmartNews. And yeah, so I'm their third PMM there. In my spare time, I really enjoy reading good books, watch a good movie or Netflix, and also hang out with my friends.
So what got you interested in product marketing?
Well, it's actually an interesting story because I majored in mechanical and material system engineering in college, and I studied nanotechnology when I was in graduate school. But during my first internship, I became the first intern in Tesla China. I was given a lot of flexibilities. So marketing obviously at that time has lots of interesting projects. That's when I decided when I looked for a full-time position, I would like to do marketing. When I graduated from graduate school, I was given this opportunity to work as a global marketing analyst at Shell, the oil and gas company. That's in general how I get into marketing. And a couple of years at oil and gas, I had this opportunity to transit to tech. That's where I became product marketing manager in tech.
How did you first find out about the product marketing role and what got you interested in that role?
When I moved myself to San Francisco Bay Area, I started off a marketing role in a startup company that focused on the food delivery service in the Bay Area and New York. The founder was ex-Googler, and her role at Google was product marketing manager. So by working with her closely on daily basis, she really taught me a lot of the basics of product marketing manager. And with her experience at Google, obviously, she has a lot of good knowledge around product marketing. So I found that is an extremely rewarding journey for me and motivated me to become a product marketing manager in tech.
So after doing oil and gas, you worked at a startup in an informal role as like a new PMM. How did you make that jump into a more formal role at Smart News?
After Shell, I decided to join a quite premature startup so that I can have more ownership and impact, by working with the founders on daily basis. And I feel I learned a lot from the founder. But at some point, you do feel like you are very busy, working on the actual stuff. And sometimes you do wish that you could have more resources to help you with that. So that's where I moved to my current company, which is a pre-IPO startup. So we have around 600 employees around the world, Japan office, China office, as well as US office. So I think that's really a sweet spot for me. So at the same time, you can have ownership as well as resources to help you with that. There are some processes, but a lot of product marketing kind of initiatives, no one did that before. So really gave me the opportunity to be the first one who can build a lot of guidelines and excellencies around product marketing. So that's very exciting. And plus, I do love the culture of the company a lot. They're really encouraging people to perform at their best. If you have an initiative, you're trying to do something, no one's going to stop you from doing that. And people will give you a resource as long as you can make a business case around it.
When you were making that jump, how did you prepare for your interviews at Smart News?
I'll start with the interview process I've been through at Smart News. So the first round is the HR screening, generally sensing whether you're suitable for the role and some culture fit questions. And then you start talking to the hiring managers and some key stakeholders like designers, growth marketing manager, the other marketing stakeholders like product manager, designers, etc. So it's a relatively a long interview process. And the last round was a case study. So where you prepare a case to present to your stakeholders and extended team. For me, was the first step is always start with the job description. Just look at the specific requirements for that role and connect that requirements with the past case that I did in my previous job. Prepare your stories using the STAR model, the situation, task, action, and result. So I remember I prepared about 4 to 5 stories. So that helped me a lot throughout the interview process. And the second is to really to talk to some PMMs who are already working at the tech industry. And I think they gave me a lot of tips around how to best answer some questions and share their experience when they going through the interview process. And third, obviously, is a lot of resources on internet, including your channel. I think that's how I found your channel during the interview process, and also some other courses offered by PMMA and other organizations.
Throughout the long interview process, what was the hardest part?
In general, interview is always the hardest when you just start doing that, right? So the first couple of interviews, I feel is set to fail. I remember when I started to looking for PMM roles, I went to the first couple of interviews. Yeah, it was pretty bad, and because I didn't know what kind of answers people are looking for, and I didn't practice enough to best present myself and my work. But gradually, you started to understand, okay, what kind of questions that people are asking during the interview, and how can I better tell my story, can know that I'm the best fit for the job. It's okay to be scared in the beginning, but gradually, I think you will get better at it. Yeah.
What advice do you have for aspiring PMMs who are also looking to make that transition from a different career background?
The first step is always to check out the knowledge to see what you don't know. There are so many good resources online. Like, first step, subscribe to Henry's channel. That's super useful if you're not. Secondly, just Google PMM courses. I'm sure there are a lot of good ones out there. For example, the one I took was PMMA certified core. So I think it's totally worth it. There are a lot of tools and framework that help me a lot even today at my work. So I think that's a very important part, because that's lay a solid foundation on the knowledge part. That's something that you have to know, not only for the interviews, but also once you become a PMM. And I think the second part is really to see how you connect those knowledge, or how you apply those PMM knowledge into your daily work or practice. So for example, if you are already working in the marketing department, it's relatively easier for you to take on some product marketing related projects, or started to do something, more related to product marketing manager job description requirements, right? So you can maybe help with a go-to-market project, or you can help with some inbound researches. But if you are not working as or marketers, so it could be a little bit tricky. But I always found that there are so many other opportunities maybe you can explore. Maybe there are some volunteer opportunities for some early startups, or if you know any engineer friend, if they're starting some side business, you can volunteer to help them with some inbound research. So that's actually what I did when I started looking for a product marketing role. So I have this, a group of friends actually. They're engineers developing an AI-based proofreader tool. So I was their product marketing manager, helping them with a lot of inbound research, user interviews, make it super structured and organized. They really appreciate it. And I remember showing that piece of work during an interview to a hiring manager, and she was quite impressed, with all this kind of organized and structured way of doing the interview, and yeah, and even it's a volunteer job. So I think that's definitely helpful. So for someone who's not at marketing, who would like to break into product marketing. So I think that's the second component to it. And the third component is always practice, practice, practice. I know that you always feel like it's not the right time, I need more practice, but just at some point, you just really need to click the apply button and get your first interview and start talking to people. Gradually, I think you will get better throughout the interview process.
Now that you've been at SmartNews for a few months, what have you enjoyed the most about being a product marketer?
I really enjoy the camaraderie. So give you an example that for the recent event, within 24 hours, the engineer team developed the Ukraine and Russia news widget, and the product manager did a lot of good job bringing it to life. And as a product marketing manager, I work with designer as well as the UA manager to quickly develop some marketing collaterals and a GDM plan to let the customer know that, hey, we have this Ukraine and Russia news widget where you can check out the high quality information and a summary for the recent events. So I think for me, being part of this amazing team, very quick action and bring the value to the users gave me a great sense of satisfaction.
Well, that's all the questions I had. Thank you so much, Lei, for sharing about your experience and continue the great work that you're doing at Smart News.
Thank you, Fenway. Thank you for having me.